Okay, so first thing is if you do decide to invade, which makes sense to do both on bot side and top side here, just as a regular invade and then late invade, then we need red trinket instead of yellow trinket, because we don't care about getting vision, we care about making sure that we are not on vision from enemy. So I think this is fine, we get spotted, it is what it is. Then we should go for late invade, but the problem is that we don't have red trinkets, so they could have vision on us and then they can basically turn it around, meaning that you will be starting the red buff and then they will just engage on you. Which doesn't really matter against the Qiyana, you'll probably still win, but against a different champion, then they can just let you start red buff and then when your cooldowns are... when your builds on cooldown, then they just engage on you, so... Then we do red buff, we see Qiyana starting on top side as well. This is fine. And it's kind of same thing here, because obviously when you play Graves, you most of the time want to invade, and you especially want to invade the Qiyana, and again the problem is you do not have any red trinket, so as you said that, oh, I might be in vision here, well, you don't know, because of the fact that, well, most likely it's not worded in that pixel bush, because of the fact that when you invaded, you walked here, right, and they were already standing here with the Anivia. So most likely they don't have vision there, but they can have vision here, they can have vision here, here, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know because you don't have red trinket.
Right.
Then here we go for the invade. I think what you could do is you could use, in this situation, you could use your trinket first and then go over just to get information 1 second earlier. Then she just W's over the wall. Yeah, I'll just finish the wolves. You could also, again, just have used your trinket here, right?
Yes, exactly.
Use
Instead
trinket
of
here, and then you don't have to flash.
Yes. Okay, this was a big one. Yeah. Now Anivia comes.
This was good mechanical E on the Anivia Q. We get the Anivia egg, pretty good. Only thing is that you said that Anivia flashed when she didn't flash, which we'll get to. Then you go on farm. So here, I think it's good you're looking at mid. But the problem is that she's still high HP and still has flash. And you don't have your flash. And the wave is... well, we can't really see the wave right now. But the thing that I don't like is the fact that you completely ignore your top. Look at top lane's HP. We would assume that Camille also has around that HP. So this mid lane gank does not look super free because of the fact that we don't have CC and she still has flash. When Qiyana then goes, then you can obviously counter gank, that's fine. So again, we're still not looking at top. Now we look at top.
Yeah.
And then we go there quite late.
Yeah, like here, my pet just stopped attacking that. I don't know why, but okay. We should have had the scuttle there, and we didn't.
And here's just gonna be a 1-for-1 trade. So essentially what it comes down to is, I think what we should have done was look more at top rather than looking at mid. Because Akali was also gonna be fine in mid when it comes to that gank. And then when it comes to you counter ganking, you would either have to go on Anivia, and again, if you had W, you could EW her and she would die, or she would at least be forced to flash. Or you would just wait for Qiyana to fight against Akali and then you join in as a 2v1 situation. But again, it's like small differences. But the thing is, you are really focused on this. You almost tunnel visioned on this. when you also have this as an option. So yeah. Then you base, you walk to your top side.
Here I thought her raptors should be still up, but she probably just took them.
Yep.
So I was not sure what to do, but because she was still hovering the area, I had to hover as well, I thought. Just pushed her out of there because the blitz was making a play. Alright, she didn't.
I mean, what I would do in this situation is I would look at the timer and say, okay, there's a mid on until red buff spawns, and then I'd look to invade her on red buff instead. So what I would do is I would simply just farm, farm Grump, then I'd hang around mid and top lane, because you know Camille doesn't have flash and Evia doesn't have egg. And then I would get Prio, and then I would wait Qiyana on red buff. Because all of this just randomly happens. They end up just going on Anivia when you're going on Qiyana, and then you end up getting a kill. And then you go up here, right?
I mean, I'm really brain damaged at this point to not know that she's 6.
So the problem here is the fact that you die with 5 jungle camps up and the chance to invade Qiyana on her red buff. And all of this could just have been avoided if you simply just focused on invading something that you know is about to spawn rather than invading something that is up that she can technically be doing. So Qiyana clears raptors quite fast after level 2. So the thing is, when they have AoE abilities, they clear raptors super fast, so you have to invade before the jungle camp spawns. It's different if it's like Drake or Rift Herald or something that has a lot of HP, then it takes some time. But for regular just jungle camps, most junglers clear them within 10 to 15 seconds. So it doesn't matter if you invade whenever it's spawned, because it takes 10 to 15 seconds for you to move there anyway, from where your position is. So it's much better to plan and invade for a jungle camp that's about to spawn, which in that situation would be red buff. And then you could still be playing for your top and mid lane, which could result in something. And if it doesn't, well, then you're guaranteed that you will have prio so that you can invade her red buff, and then you get red buff at least. And same thing right here. You're looking for a play. You have to basically... This play has to basically work, because if it doesn't work, you're fucked because of the fact that you again have jungle camps up. And we did not invade Qiyana on the red buff, and you're not farming your own jungle camps, and we're still looking for kills. It's fine to do it if it's a free kill, but you have to make sure that it's a free kill. And same thing kind of goes for this Drake. You end up being here, let's say you started...
I think it takes like 50 seconds to do this.
You started 7:54.
Pretty sure it takes almost an entire minute because I'm being harassed by the Xerath.
And then here, it takes you 30 seconds to clear it. But the problem is, what Qiyana is basically going to do, she's gonna take her top side, right? So she takes this. She can then look to the Rift Herald. There's a top scuttle spawning. And if she was a faster clearing jungler, then she would actually also be able to take your Grump plus maybe your Wolves. So you're trading 20 gold Drake, well, 25 gold Drake, for essentially 2 of her own jungle camps plus Scuttle Crab, and potentially losing out on Rift Herald. So what you've done, you're basically just fucked from here. From what you're doing here at minute 6, you're fucked 2 minutes later. Because look, your Grump is up, your Wolves just spawned, Raptors just spawned, your red buff will spawn in 30 seconds, Crocs are up, her red buff spawns in 30 seconds, and we didn't take her Raptors, and then now you're going top, Camille is there, and you die. So, especially on a champion like Graves, you can never die with your own jungle camps being up.
Okay. Okay.
If you have, in this situation, you have 5 jungle camps about to spawn, completely trolled to die.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 1 or 2, maybe it's okay, especially if it's in the other side. So let's say you die on top side and your bot side camps are up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not too bad if you get something done on actual top side. Because what it allows Qiyana to do is just, she can do whatever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
If Qiyana wanted to, she could take your Raptor, she could take your red buffs, she could take Drake, she could take your Crux, whatever she wants to do. She ends up ganking bot lane, but again, she can get that kill. And we don't get anything done on top. Then you go here, you farm, then we go Drake. Then we farm. And only now you've cleared everything. Almost 4 minutes later.
Right.
So jungle camps spawn 2 minutes 15. So you could almost have cleared twice as many camps in same time frame. If we go 30 seconds further ahead, then you could have cleared your jungle camps twice. And even if you press tab, I think you're down in CS to Qiyana right now.
So this applies to champs like Jarvan 4, Elise as well, or is this?
No, those are ganking junglers. When you play ganking junglers, you intentionally leave jungle camps up so that you can gank constantly. You want to gank as many times as possible. You just clear your most important camps and that's it.
So I can't do that on Graves. Graves is just not one of these champs.
Graves is just a power farming and invading jungler. Any power farming jungler cannot die with jungle camps up.
Yeah, because this is weird. Usually, power farming junglers are not invaders. So I got a bit of. It was unclear to me whether, well, how does this make sense? So on the one hand, I can invade, but then I also have to farm. How does that work? If I
Well, you can
invade,
just
then I can
farm
also...
enemy jungle. You're still power farming if you farm enemy jungle.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, this combo was nice. You get 2 kills on mid, pretty good. But again, problem is, nothing is really up on the map.
Mm-hmm.
You already took Drake, Rifted was already down. You could invade her bot side, right? But you have a pretty good base here, so it's not needed. Oh, let's see, you actually press tab here. So you are 57 CS, and she is maybe 70? She's actually also 56.
Yeah, I mean, she was farming as little as me. I was looking. But I think in her case, that's okay, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Qiyana doesn't clear all that much.
Yeah.
Graves definitely clears healthier and faster than a Qiyana. So we just end up clearing. And then again here I would kind of do the same thing. Look to invade Qiyana on her red buff. You could even look to maybe do it on Raptors. But she just showed on bot side, right? So you can probably take the jungle camps away and then kill her afterwards. Again, kind of same thing here. This kill is never going to like happen, so there's no point in looking to do this.
Oh no, I wasn't looking to kill. I just wanted to cross, but then
Well, if you decide to cross, then you're crossing most likely on vision, and that's the bad thing. Kind of same thing as what you do here. You show on the, I mean, first you show on one word, you show on another word, and then you show on minions, right?
Yeah, but I know where everyone is.
Well, you know Qiyana's coming from base, and you know you don't have mid prio, and your top laner also doesn't have prio.
I still have time to do this, no? I think.
Yes, but it doesn't matter if you have time to do it. You also need to get out.
Ah, okay.
If Camille decides I'm gonna rotate now, yes, you get the jungle camp, but you're fucked. And Nivea can do the same thing. There's not a way where you can get out of this situation if an enemy team wants to kill you.
Yeah, if they all like go in, no, I can't get out.
So it's much better for you to just cross through river and dash over the wall, because there's less likely going to be wars there. Or what you could do is you could just defend mid lane if you don't want to invade.
Right.
Luckily, you end up getting away with this, but against good players, you will always die.
Okay. do good players like always collapse like this, even at the expense of their own waves?
I mean, it depends what they get. They get 300 gold plus an assist that's 150. So the guy who gets 300 gold, he gets more gold. He loses XP, but most matchups you will then be able to zone it away regardless. The guy who gets the assist gets the same amount of gold. Well, he gets a little bit less if it's cannon wave, but he gets more if it's a non-cannon wave. So both of them get gold, they just lose a little bit of XP. So it depends how fast can they kill. And it shouldn't be that difficult for a Camille to kill a Graves with her ult.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they won't always do it, but in this situation with those champions, they will always do it. Because essentially what they do is they just kill you, and then Qiyana can play the game for free. So what she can then do is she can just walk to her lane, and then say, oh, you help me in jungle, I'm just gonna help you in lane. Then either Camille or whoever goes mid lane has to play 2v1.
Right.
So if your laners don't get to crash the wave, for example, if you have a champion with weak fucking wave clear, well then they can just freeze the wave. Then they're fucked until you respawn, then you're forced to go top. And you're forced to take the 2v2, and if you can't 2v2, well then that lane is over.
So what about fights like this, like the one that just broke out and everyone pinged me because I wasn't there? How do I know if it's good to fight or not? Like in this situation, I would say no. But like after I take the Drake and go over the wall, the random fight breaks out. And
I
then I
mean,
just
once you get the Drake, there's nothing to fight for. So then it's just a random fight.
yeah.
So then it comes down to, well, is it int for your team or int for enemy team to take the fight?
Well, I thought it would be int for my team, but that's my opinion. I don't know if it's actually int. Sometimes I misjudge situations and I don't know how to get better at that.
Well, here you have a decent amount of gold and you don't have your ult, so you are not really interested in fighting.
Yeah. But my Akali is like, fight, and she just goes in.
I mean, in that situation, I would just communicate and say don't fight. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for you to fight, because you don't have ult, and you have a decent amount of gold, and you already got the objective, so there's nothing to fight for. So you only fight if enemy team is inting. And that would be if like Blitzcrank can grab or they are outnumbered or anything like that.
Well, I get a lot of this kind of stuff from teams where they say it doesn't matter if you get anything out of it, I get something out of it. Like I get my wave shoved in and then I have lane control and shit. So like what should I prioritize? Should I prioritize myself or should I prioritize
You should always prioritize yourself. Because otherwise you just rely on your team to win every game. But you should also communicate, so you should just ping and say, I don't want to fight.
I get one tapped, I think, but I managed to escape. I don't know if this was a bad call or if...
Here it's just again spam ping. Spam ping that you want to go on Rift Herald and you want Fiora to go there. So it's again, it's just ping, ping, ping. If they go, then you can then go. But if they don't go, then you have to respect and say, okay, we're not going.
Okay.
Because the problem is here that they are fighting you guys when you are being outnumbered. You got a pick on mid lane on the Seraph and you get a top tower. So technically you have already traded the Rift Herald. This is the second Rift Herald. But then when you lose a Kali, then the golds pretty much just evens out. So it's just about communicating that you don't want to fight or you want to fight. Then adapt to whatever happens. You guys killed Anivia. You farm. And then here it's again, you see that two people are top, so play around them. If they answer with two people, you can contest the Drake. If they don't answer two people on top, then you don't contest. And then when it comes to should I steal or not, I mean, can you realistically speaking steal it? Most likely not.
Yeah.
But on paper, it's not too bad because there's not that many jungle camps up. But if Baron spawned, well, Baron spawns in 40 seconds from that moment, but if it was up, then you would never go in, because then you just lose Drake and Baron. Then here we get a pick off. And then here what you want to do is, again, same thing. Fiora is splitting bot. Wait for someone to contest her. So all you do here is you just dance around Baron. You just either take it, in the sense that if you have someone who can tank it without losing too much HP, then you can start it, but here you don't. So you just pretend that you're here and you're going to start it without actually starting it. If somebody contests Fiora, well, then you have a 3v5. Then you can either look for another Blitzcrank grab, or you can just start it. If nobody contests Fiora, well, then Fiora is gonna be on inhib tower. But the problem is, we started it. Vayne is looking for a fight. You are starting Baron. Akali is going top, and now Fiora stopped pushing. So no one is doing anything.
Everything goes wrong at once.
So now Camille is there. So now this is the time where we would look to fight. But the problem is, again, you fight. Akali is not there, Vayne is not there, Blitzcrank is not there.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to, you are not supposed to start the Baron right here. You should just let Fiora split. Until then, you can look for another pick off with Blitzcrank. So for example here, if you could ulti this guy, that's pretty good, because then you would be in a, then they would be in a 2v5. But problem is, he gets away. Now he will press R.
Yeah.
I think he'll press R. I don't remember. But at least he would be able to do damage. Oh yeah, well. And then, yeah, now Camille TPs, so everything just goes wrong. Like, nobody is playing how they should. Because now Fiora is here, but the fight is more or less already over, so she can't do anything. Then this situation right here.
I EW and like, oh my god, I didn't think I would get hit by that. Even so, probably should just back off.
Here you just back off. You already used everything. What can you possibly do to do damage here?
One more Q, baby. Just one more Q. Too late. GG.
So everyone dies, and this, I mean, luckily Ezreal is forward, but again, it's just realizing, well, how much can you do? Right. And after you press R, you already go back. There's no way for you to go back in after you press R. Then we go Baron because we get some pickoffs, that's fine. And then this is where we also look for a fight. So here, the main objective is, again, get Baron. Now you got Baron, doesn't make sense for us to take this fight. Why doesn't it make sense? Well, their jungler is dead, so if you rush to Drake, you have smite advantage, and they don't. The longer you wait and fight, Qiyana has time to respawn, go to Drake and smite it. That's why forcing a fight like this doesn't make sense. If Vayne was there, maybe, because then you're outnumbering them, but you still have to win the fight. But then essentially what it comes down to is you would also be flipping the Drake, right? Because now the problem is, look, Qiyana is alive, the rest of your team is reset and base because they're low HP, they don't want to do Drake. You walk into Qiyana, you're dead. On paper, what you should be doing, so with Baron, what you want to do is you want to push. What enemy team wants to do is they want to fight. They want to fight so that they can remove your Baron buffs. So you do what enemy team wants to do. And when enemy jungler is dead, you should have both Baron and Drake. So the call should be pick off, into Baron, into Drake, reset, start pushing. That should be the call. Because now the problem is, now you're dead, so you lost your Baron buff. Now you're going to lose Drake. The rest of your team have to wait a full minute before you can actually push, because you'll be outnumbered now on map. Oops, now Fiora died, now we have to wait another 60 seconds. Another fight breaks out. Boom, Blitzcrank is also dead now, so now we're 2 Baron buffs left. And now we have to wait, well, 40-50 seconds until people are back on map again, ready to push. So that's basically half of the Baron gone, used for nothing, and we didn't even get the Drake.
I mean, most of this game, people just went psycho and started fights all over the place every single time, even when it didn't make sense.
But that's fine, because what it determines is if you join the fights where you know it's a good fight, you will win, and the fights where you don't win, well, then you can still free farm. Then you can farm all 3 lanes. You can become really, really fat.
So the game won't snowball completely if my team just dies in those fights. And
If you stay alive and your team dies, as long as you have no objectives up, you can just farm.
Yeah, but I will be the only fed one, and they will be weak. No?
That doesn't matter. You want to be the fat one. You want to carry the game.
Okay, I see where you're going. So you think you can 1v9 a game, at least on a champ like this?
When you play Graves, you can 1v9. But you cannot sit in 1v9 in late game as Elise.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing for Karthus. Karthus is not gonna 1v9 at level 10. He wants to level 16.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if his teammates int. As long as you don't int, then it's fine.
So Graves is like Karthus in this sense? Is he strongest at 16?
Well, look at your damage at late game.
Yeah, I mean, true.
When you're 6 items, you do damage. Not saying that you don't do damage now, but it's not like Graves is not getting any stronger.
Right.
But the problem is, in this situation, we lose Drake for no reason, and we didn't use Baron for anything.
Yeah.
Maybe we got 1 tower, but I don't think we got that. And that's the problem. You do what enemy team wants, not what you want.
I think this was a good idea, but I executed so bad.
In this situation, I would just use the blast cone instead, and I would honestly just press R.
I
I would just R. There is a chance that she just dies to that R.
Oh. I don't even know what this game was decided by. Maybe the soul, but it felt so random after this point. Like after this point in the game, it all feels completely random.
Yeah, but that's because you lose Baron and you don't use it. Baron is 3 minutes of constant pushing and a constant pressure, plus you should be able to get Drake, so that you're closest to getting Soul, and you get none of them. So then for the next 5-6 minutes, nothing is gonna happen on map, because there's no objectives up.
Right. And it's just Fiesta.
So now both Drake and Baron is about to spawn. And we get a kill onto Qiyana, so that should again mean that you can get at least one of the objectives, but also be in position to at least contest the second one. So you get Baron here, Qiyana is dead for another 10 seconds.
Blitz gets picked, Fiora gets killed, and then we can't really do anything.
I mean, right now it's still 4v4. So if you keep track of if Camilla's TP or not, then you could go for it.
After that Qiyana one-shot me earlier, I was like, yeah, I just don't want anything to do with that, to be honest. I mean, I don't want to...
Here, this fight is fine if we play it slow. Kali ends up dying, but still 4v4. Play together. Now this is when your champions start being actually really strong. But we just don't really use Baron buffs to push. That's main reason why this game doesn't end. Every time we get a Baron, the game doesn't end. You don't get any closer to even ending the game.
We got 3 Barons this game, I think, or 2, and the last one we could have got.
So this gives you Drake. That's pretty good. And then here, just go to Soul. It doesn't, well, because Vayne goes in, maybe it's fine to go on issue, but you get the idea. It doesn't make sense to chase this random kill, because it gives enemy team time to respawn to essentially be able to contest. And then here, when it comes to can you end or can you not end, but you have to look at how much wave clear do they have. You have one inhib down, meaning you can end off maximum 2 waves. The wave clear they have is a Nivea.
Yeah.
If you cannot kill a Nivea, you cannot end the game. Because the Baron buff is not empowering the minions. If you have Baron buff, I think you can end.
Yeah.
But without it, you cannot end. Because of a Nivea wave clear. And to be honest, by the time you get to the Nexus towers, Seraph is also going to respawn.
Yes.
And who is going to be able to auto-attack the towers? Well, Blitzcrank cannot auto-attack it, Akali cannot auto-attack it, Fiora cannot auto-attack it, barely Vayne and Graves can auto-attack it because of range.
Yeah.
So your champions cannot end if a Nivea is alive. You either have to kill a Nivea or you cannot go for end. You obviously have Blitzcrank to grab a Nivea to kill it, but look what a Nivea does.
She just presses her buttons and is annoying.
Now Seraph is up. You just made it to the towers, now Seraph is up. Now it's double wave clear.
Yeah.
Look, that's your wave. Now you cannot push.
Wave. Yeah.
So you don't even get 2 waves. You actually only get 1 wave to end on. So essentially what you do is you rely on Blitzcrank to grab a Nivea, to kill a Nivea to end the game. And that is why this is a bad call, because you rely on a teammate. So you have to go Baron and say, okay, we're gonna go Baron, we're gonna reset, we're gonna go top lane, we're gonna push together, then we can triple inhib, then we can end, because then the wave clear doesn't matter.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't rely on my teammates, I should rely on them in a different way.
You should just rely on yourself. You know you can do Baron together with your team, but you know you cannot end with your team unless Anivia dies. Nothing stops you from taking Baron.
True.
But something stops you from ending the game, and that's Anivia. And your champion cannot deal with Anivia, because she outranges you.
Yeah.
If you have Caitlyn AD carry, and you are playing... I don't fucking know a ranged jungler that can outrange Anivia wave clear. I don't think there exists one. Yeah, I don't think there is one. But let's say you play a champion that can kill Anivia.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck that would be. That would be... I mean, Nidalee would be okay, because you can spear. Maybe that way you can zone. Or if you play like Rammus and you have ult, you can ult on top of it. Anything that can kill, right? You cannot outrange her, so you have to kill her. You have to play a champion that can kill.
Right.
If you're playing a champion like that, it could be Rammus, it could be any of like the engaged junglers. Then you could. Or if you play maybe Master Yi and you could tower dive it, right? Like whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Whatever that can actually kill Anivia, then you can. Because then you don't rely on your team, you rely on yourself. But the problem is you rely on Blitzcrank. And then the game again goes to shit, because now you lose Baron. Eventually Drake spawns, you get Soul, and then eventually you end the game. Because eventually you get triple inhib, and then it's a lot more difficult for Anivia and Seraph to wave clear, because it's triple, so it's double super minions every time, coming from 3 different directions. As well as she has to dodge the Blitzcrank grab. If she didn't have to dodge Blitzcrank grab, maybe she could still wave clear, to be honest, until Baron spawn, and then she cannot do it anymore. But then eventually you end up winning, let's see.
I mean, they just one
Well,
shot.
you don't even need the minions anymore because we're
Yeah.
this late into the game, so it
So
doesn't matter. So the problems for this game is in early game, the invade was, well, first was not going red trinket to do a late invade. Second thing is then the invade that you end up doing could have been executed a little bit better. Then when it comes to ganks, you're completely ignoring top lane when you could actually have ganked top. Always mid lane situation, just play it a little bit slower so you can get the kill. Then plan invades on actual timers that are coming up, not jungle camps that are already up. And then just farm more consistently because you are not farming enough throughout this game. And you die when you have all of your jungle camps up, really, really bad. Same thing for Drake. No reason for you to start Drake because in those 30 seconds where you get 25 gold, you can be farming essentially 2 to 3 jungle camps in the same time, right?
right.
You can at least farm these 2 jungle camps and be on your way here to the better objective anyway, where there's a scuttle crab that you also want to play for ideally. But you're playing for 25 gold. In the same time frame you can get 200, and this Drake doesn't do anything. It's the most useless shit Drake you can ever imagine.
Okay. I thought that was the ocean.
No, Ocean is actually kind of nice early, because it gives health regen and mana. It helps sustain better in lane. Then what else? I mean, determining which fights to take and which one not to take is also pretty important. When enemy jungler is dead, you want to take objectives, you don't want to fight. With Baron buff, you want to push, you don't want to fight. Play according to your teammates. So if you have someone split push, let them split push until someone contests. Don't force when there's nothing, like no reason to force. And then, yeah, don't rely on your teammates, right? So don't try and end when you know you cannot end unless you kill one champion that you are physically not capable of killing yourself. So just take the Baron instead. And then, yeah, push with Barons. Like, all the Barons we got, we didn't use them for anything. That's the main thing. That's the reason why the game drags out to 45 minutes. Because every time we got a Baron, we didn't push any towers and we didn't get any inhibs. So then you just wait another 6 minutes until the next Baron spawns. Okay, that's 12 minutes, nothing happened. Okay, now it's going to be 18 minutes. Oh, we finally did something. It took us 18 minutes to actually put ourselves in a position where we could end the game. And that wasn't even from Baron, it was from getting Soul. Which was good, but the thing is that we could have gotten that Soul 5 minutes earlier if we just went Baron straight into Drake, and then we wouldn't have been into a 45-minute game, we would have been in a 40-minute game. And you would already have 5 minutes of Soul, which could easily set us up for a Baron, and then you'd be able to push. So the game should not have been 45, it should have been 40. This should be the latest. It should probably be closer to 35. So we just dragged the game out for 10 minutes because we didn't do anything with the Barons and we just gave them Drakes for free. So you could have ended around this if it was a somewhat good game. Not saying it is without mistakes, this is still with decent amount of mistakes, but still a decent quality game for this elo. But because of the mistakes we're doing, both individually as a team, the game goes to 45 and this just goes completely low quality and this goes to somewhat high for the elo we're playing in.
I see.
Any questions?
I feel like it was a pretty bad game for me. And all around, it felt like not really.
It's just 50-50 who ends up winning this game. Because no team is playing how they should be playing. Both teams played both their champions, their fights, their macro, their decisions. Everyone just played it bad. But unless you have any questions, then that will be it.
No, everything is clear. Thank you very much.